Good evening. I hope everybody's doing well. Um, Man, just a ton of headlines today. This has been a crazy week when it comes to the amount of headlines, and they're pertinent headlines. What I mean by that is it's not like a majority of them are sports or something that's not, in my opinion, important. Um, it's been crazy. Uh, Gosh, I couldn't tell you. Pardon me. I couldn't tell you how many I waded through today. Um, Tons, tons. We are not on a good course whatsoever. Um, so I was in a conversation today, and I heard that local, I believe, Sam's Club is like starting to limit like to like one case of things. Sam's Club, a bulk store. Now I remember they did that right when when all this really started to get stupid. Shy of 2 years ago. However, looks like it's getting that way again. Um, this is insanity. What is happening? Because this isn't just a isolated event. This is something that's widespread, and I really have a feeling that we're in for a rough winter in just about every way imaginable. Um, Everybody's predictions as far as weather, as far as winter's concerned, are that it's going to be a very, very long, hard, cold winter. I agree with that. Weather's something I've paid attention to since I was in grade school. Um, I agree. I think for multiple reasons, we are headed into a doozy of a winter. Um, I think I mentioned yesterday that I'm trying to work out in my head an alternative heat source. Um, wouldn't you know it? This morning it dipped down a little cool last night. This morning I got up and came in here and I thought, for one, I'll get the unpleasantness out of the way because the first time you turn on heat, especially if it's electric heat, it's going to be nasty. And I thought, well, let me just get it out of the way. And so I turned on the heat, and I was just going to get the nasty out of the way and take the chill out of the air. And the fan blower came on and everything. It's blowing, never any heat. So, not sure what's going on. Furnace guy is going to be back tomorrow and check it out. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to figure out an alternative form of heat, not because of that, obviously, but if we have electric heat, so if we lose power, we have no heat. We're just hosed. Um, and believe me, I know that there's a ton of things out there talking about tea light candles and clay pots. And please do not expect that to save your life if it gets very cold where you are. Um, I think there's a lot of people that like put things back for preps but never try it. And I would hate for folks to lose their life because they froze to death because they saw a meme on social media or video on YouTube showing tea light candles and clay pots for a heater. Um, if it gets very cold where you're at, man, that might sustain you in a small closet. And I'm not being facetious. That might sustain you in a small closet. But that would be about it. That would be about it. And that would be with multiple candles and multiple clay pots stacked. Yeah, not a very, 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 very strong form of heat. Um, I don't say that to discourage people. I say that to inform, to empower people, because it doesn't matter how you feel about hearing something like that now. What matters is how effective it is when you most need it. And I would rather folks understand that now, that is just not a very feasible form of heat. There's a lot of prepping things that go around that really are not that sound. And this I get a lot of hate for, but microwaves as Faraday cages, not so much. Just not so much. There's a lot of variables with that. So many variables. It's one of those things to where there may be individuals in the country, if there's an EMP, there may be individuals in the country that don't have anything protected in any way. And because of weather conditions or this, that, and the other thing, their devices, their equipment's not affected. To where somebody else may have put their stuff in a cardboard lined trash can, metal trash can, and wind up finding out that it still got fried. So, it's very dependent upon those variables that we really don't have any control over. Weather is a huge one. If it's raining, especially if it's raining hard at your location during like an EMP, that is a massive benefit for you. Massive. Because that rain will help disperse those waves. It good chance that your gear will make it. Anyway, I got off track there a bit, but food is, I think, going to become in short supply. I highly recommend folks take steps as quickly as they can to get as much put back as possible. And that's hard to do when, like I just said, the bulk stores are starting to limit on how much you can buy. So keep that in mind. I will say this. I've heard numerous accounts of toilet paper shortages. I don't know. The reason I don't know is because we don't buy our toilet paper locally on the store shelf. When we can, and we do everything to make sure we can, we buy our toilet paper on Amazon. We buy a case, and they had a good deal on it. Came out to like 42 something or 43 something like that, for a case of 80 rolls of toilet paper delivered to the door. And again, that's 80 rolls. I will also add this, because this is incredibly important. This is it's the industrial, I'm not saying the right word for it, institutionalized toilet paper. What do I mean by that? It's individually wrapped. Each roll it's like what you would see in a motel or hotel, or whatever, they're individually wrapped rolls, and it's not like Angel Soft or Cottonelle or anything to where it's all real thick, fluffy, and dusty. I hate that stuff for multiple reasons. For one, it's a waste. You get this big, huge roll, and there really isn't a whole lot on it. Why? Because it's so thick and fluffy, and the other stuff, there's a happy medium without getting sandpaper, and at the same time, getting the job done comfortably. And we get like Scott is what we get. It's good stuff, and there's a lot more on the roll than what there is on the real fluffy, Charmin and all that, right? So considering each roll goes a lot longer than the bigger, the fluffier rolls, it really goes a long way. That 80 That 80 rolls is enough to get us. We can squeeze 2 months out of it, and a little more than 2 months out of it, and that's if my nose is going at it pretty bad. Because I got to blow my nose all the time. I'm constantly blowing my nose, so, and that's what I use to blow my nose. So, if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't use nowhere near what we do use. So anyway, that's just a little bitty tip. Let's see. Hang on, give me a second here. And I'll show you folks exactly what it is that we get. Right here. Scott Essential Professional 100% Recycled Fiber Bulk Toilet Paper for Business. 2-ply standard rolls, white, 80 rolls a case, 506 sheets per roll. So that's it right there, $39.98 for a case of 80, and delivered right to your door. And well, plus tax, but there you go. Yeah, that's the way we prefer to get it. And sometimes we have to search for better deals and stuff, because like either the deal that we would get would run out, or the price would go up, or something like that. So once in a while you do have to try to find a better deal. But anyway, just kind of a heads up there. That's how we do it. Not that we're special. God, Blue is back there just throwing a fit. Man, and she's going at it again. She's scrubbing. I don't know why she's so perturbed. Will you knock it? I don't know why she's so perturbed. It's been a hectic day today. The landlord was here. The heating and cooling guy was here. I had a bunch of stuff I was doing today. Oh, that reminds me. I wasn't able to get a decent video doing the power box, replacing the USB ports in the power box. I started to, but then I ran into issues in getting the job done, and I mean it was a bear, and it's just simply because I don't really have the proper equipment. I don't have good equipment to be doing this stuff, and so it was just a bear. But I got it fixed. That's what the lights that you see there are running on. I got it fixed. Mission accomplished. I got the USB port replaced, so all 4 ports work now. And everything's good with it. It was just a little bit more of a nightmare. Basically, the solder wick, there was I had one problem with one particular leg. I couldn't get the hole. I couldn't get the hole cleared out, and it became a pretty big nightmare. But I was successful. That's the important part. And let's see, got that done, and got more work with the grow tents done, and just trying to get stuff. But anyway, I had the corner over there by the closet door. I had stuff setting because I had to get tools out and stuff like that, so I had stuff cluttered there. Well, that's one of Blue's favorite places to lay down, so she was pretty pissed off at me for a good part of the day over it. But she'll get over it, you know. At least she stopped scruffing for the moment. Anyway. Life with an OCD dog. Anyway, like I was saying, make sure that you're putting back food. And I was talking about heating, and like I was talking about yesterday, man, I really like the idea of those. Well, I could have showed you one of those too. Dooby dooby doo. I believe they're commonly called truck heaters. Yep, there's one right there, 5 kilowatt. I don't know if the 5 is the common. I know there was one that was a little bit more. And that's the one I was looking at, the one that was a little bit more. I don't know if it was 8 or how many it was. Yeah, here's an 8, but it's 199. 8 kW. Hang on. Here's an 8 kW for 139.99. Happy buy. Here's one. I like this design better. It's an 8 kilowatt, 158.99. These, I'm telling you, here's one for 118, 8 kilowatt. Anything like that. I really do think that is a good direction, at least for us. I can't say for everybody, but at least for us. We could keep this living room here, probably this living room and the kitchen area livable with one of these. When I say that, very possibly have to have layered clothing and stuff like that. But I'm talking about survivable, livable. And these, from my understanding, they are really, really efficient. And all I would have to be able to do is power the thing with 12 volts, obviously throughout the day and, of course, throughout the night. Hell, I've already got enough solar, I think, to be able to do that if I had the batteries, if I had the storage. So this, I think, is the direction I am going to look into going. So I really feel positive about this direction. And then I'll just quickly as I can put back diesel. I'll just do what I can. I'll get a few cans or whatever and fill them up. And once I reach that stage that I have a few cans filled, I'll see about getting like a 30 or 35 gallon plastic drum or something that I can put the cans in, and then refill the cans and rinse repeat. So if I did that, if I had 3 5-gallon cans, that's 15 gallons, and I had like a 30 or 35 gallon tank, you're talking 45, 50 gallons right there. I'm not saying that's going to get me through the winter, but it definitely take me a month and a half, maybe close to it, because from my understanding, I don't know that I would use a gallon a day. I don't know. I've never used one, and I've only watched a few videos on it, but I know that it seemed like it was pretty incredibly efficient. So anyway, just my thoughts. Oh man. Fun times. Alrighty. So yeah, as I was saying, just make sure you start putting back food as much as you can. There's a lot of people that are starting to really catch on. A lot of people. A lot of it's due to these vaccine mandates, and there are a lot of folks that realize that their time with their employer is likely very, very limited. And so that's a wake-up call. That's a quick wake-up call. And so a lot of them, I think, are starting to put back what they can, because they realize hard times are probably coming. Hopefully, many of those families only have one person in the family that's in that position, and hopefully they have multiple income streams. You know what I'm saying? In other words, another person in the household with income coming in makes it a little more survivable. But if you've got mom and dad and 2 or 3 kids, and they both fall victim, and I do mean victim, to these mandates, then that really puts folks in a bad way. I know that there's a lot of places that the mandates fully kick in like December. And so, that gives people a little bit of time to start really sticking back and putting back. I think a lot of people are doing it. I mean, I've personally heard of individuals doing it, but I think there's a lot more beyond that. There's a storm coming, and we don't control any of it. Plain and simple. We don't control any of it. The only thing that we can control is how we can respond to it. And if we're not ready, we can't respond. All we can do is fall victim to it. That's the sad thing. The more and more that you put others in control of your fate, of your well-being, the less and less control you have over it. And it may seem all grand while everything's going well, but if you have all that yanked out from underneath of you, sometimes it's completely unrecoverable. And it's devastating. I see a lot of people that are likely going to be in that position very soon. So, no matter what, no matter where you sit in this situation, it's a good idea to make sure you're putting back as much as you can. Because I'm telling you, whether it's people that you need to help or people you need to survive being away from, it's going to take resources. Plain and simple. It's going to take resources. This is not going to be a cakewalk. And I'm even talking about just this one issue. If this gets pushed and enforced with these vaccine mandates, and so many people lose their jobs, we are headed into just that one problem alone. Just that one. We are headed in a dark, dark place. Period. And that's why I am harsh when I discuss some of these prepper channels that are not doing it from the right position. This is not going to be fun. It's just not going to be fun. And that's coming from that one position. We got a lot more than that we're staring right down the barrel of. It's pretty undoubtable that we're looking at some type of serious economic problem. I don't know if it'll be a complete collapse of the dollar. I personally suspect it will be, because I don't think it's just going to be the dollar. I think it's going to be many of the financial systems around the globe. And I think that at that time, just like the good book says, that they're going to try to institute some global system. Folks, they've already got everything they need. How, you ask? Well, the one thing that they needed to tie that all in, to instantly be able to tie most of each and every one of you to the new system, the one system that has all your medical records, the one system that has all your banking information, everything there is to know about you, was the Real ID Act. That's why I refused. That's why I absolutely refused. No. That is an international ID. I know that they sold it as a national ID. It's not. It's an international ID. Why do I say that? Well, what do you need to fly? What do you need to fly? What's one of the things? You need a passport. And if you are a U.S. citizen, you need a Real ID compliant identification card. Both, not just one. Both. So, you tell me that's not an international ID. So, now I'm not saying you can use it. I don't know about foreign travel, but I'm not saying it's like valid European ID or something. No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is it's done on an international standards and in an international database. It doesn't have to be the same as all the others, and it don't have to be equal to all the others, but it gets all stored in one place. All the information, all your information, stored in one place, attached to that ID. Kind of crazy stuff. Anyway, I don't see it getting any better soon. I really don't. I don't see any of it. Like I say, we got the financial problems. We got the issues with the shortages. We're looking at global conflict. I mean, there is a lot of people pissed off over this whole AUKUS deal, and I mean, it's not calming down. Absolutely not calming down. You have individuals that was in the news today that are trying to poke at Russia even more, and of course you got the ongoing issues with China, not to forget North Korea and their recent missile launches and unveiling their railway missile system. Just a few things going on. That's all been this week. Pretty sure all that was this week, or close to it. It's just insane. It is insane. Big push for more climate stuff, regulations, rules, and God knows what else. Lots of stuff. I guess we could head that direction. Get her done. And I'm tired again. I've got a fair amount accomplished again today, so glad I got that box fixed. That was a big thing. And seriously, my apologies. When I started filming it and everything was going fine. But then when I was desoldering the solder, it didn't go too bad, except for one hole I could not get cleared out. Well, then the way that I cleared it out, I wouldn't recommend, but I had no other way, and I thought I had damaged it past the point of repair by accident, but I didn't, and it worked out fine. Everything's working fine. The USB port, many times on a circuit board, there'll be holes on the circuit board where some metal legs can go through, and a lot of times those metal legs, they go through holes. You bend them over, and then you solder them down to a spot on the board, and then that way it holds the metal housing of the USB port in place. This particular board doesn't have the holes in there for the legs to go through. There is nothing like that. It doesn't have the holes, nor are there legs on the front side that get soldered to the front side of the board, because sometimes that's the case too. Well, the other thing is this is a double USB block. There's 2 USB ports in one metal housing. So I initially thought, well, I'll replace, because you can take the plastic piece with the legs and the terminals on the other side. You can take that whole plastic piece out of a USB port, out of the back side of it. And I thought, well, I'll just swap them out. I'll just take the bad one out of the one, and I'll put it in there. You can't. It is a special. Even the plastic part's a special one, so I just had to put 2 single USB ports in it in place. But nonetheless, I got it working. It's working fine. Like I say, one of them, in fact, the one is powering the blue light. The one I replaced is powering the blue light. So, yeah, I'm so glad I got that done. That has bothered me ever since. I like my stuff to work, and I cannot stand broken stuff. And it's especially if it's an important tool. To me, that is an important tool, and that is eating at me ever since I broke that. And so now it's fixed. Thank goodness. I know, OCD, right? Anyway, let's do some headlines. After I sip coffee. That's kind of like a rule. Let's see. Alright, I don't think I said this one from last night, and it is rather important. Congress passes bill to aid victims of Havana syndrome after reports CIA director's entourage was targeted in India. So again, kind of probably important. Another one for last night. U.S. hegemony has failed miserably and sanctions amount to crime against humanity, Iran's president says in fiery UN address. Okay, now we are to this morning's news. Are you being good over there?
I was just laughing.
Oh. Yeah, I heard her making some kind of noises over there. Gosh. She's a trip. Getting awful bitchy in her old age, too. Let's see. Senator Schumer and other senior Dems urge Biden to stop expelling Haitian refugees as UN says decision may violate international law. Haitian migrants being released into U.S. on very large scale despite Biden's vow to send them back home, says reports. New Zealand refuses to give up its zero-case COVID-19 strategy as infection numbers rise in Auckland. India to resume COVID vaccine exports to developing nations. U.S. demands Russia boost natural gas deliveries to Europe through Ukraine. Moscow to conduct recount of electronic voting after opposition accuses authorities of rigging weekend parliamentary election. Brazil's health minister tests positive for COVID-19 shortly after unvaccinated Bolsonaro speaks at UN General Assembly. Soaring energy prices become major headache for China. Biden fails to understand that Northern Ireland Protocol is not a bargaining chip for U.S. trade deals, says UK minister. Australia-EU trade deal would benefit Brussels and Indo-Pacific, Canberra says after ditching French submarine contract. Assassination attempt on Ukrainian presidential advisor leaves driver with gunshot wounds as Zelensky holds meetings in New York. Are you sure they're just not trying to give Zelensky an alibi? I'm kidding. Kidding. Let's see. Let me have a couple vapes. I earned them, I think. Alright. UK government secures injunction against eco-warrior protesters who repeatedly blocked sections of M25. Talking tough on Russia but doing deals with Moscow, Merkel played both sides. Germany's next leader may be more confrontational. And I actually expect that. I do expect that. In fact, I think probably much more confrontational. Police fire rubber bullets at anti-vax protesters in Melbourne as demonstrators storm War Memorial. Cryptocurrencies continue to slide amid global market uncertainty. Squeezing us out of the market, Russia's space agency chief rules out any cooperation with Musk and direct competitor SpaceX. Despite growing concerns about China, Russia is still the primary military threat to Washington, says senior U.S. commander. Workers have no interest in war with China. Australian trade unions slam nuclear submarine deal with U.S. and UK. UK facing impending food crisis due to rising CO2 prices, government warns. Cars dragged through Spanish streets after heavy rainfall causes flash floods. The weather, just insane. Turkey's Erdogan pledges support for Ukrainian territorial integrity, telling UN that Ankara will not recognize Crimea as Russia. Iran does not waste time, won't accept unconstructive U.S. behavior in nuclear negotiations, Foreign Minister says. A Family Guy released his COVID vaccine explainer to push back against Fox News host Tucker Carlson, irking some online. I guess so. Fraudsters stole £753.9 million from UK citizens in the first half of 2021. That's a few dollars. Germany says Russia is fulfilling its obligations under European gas supply agreements. Loser Donald Trump mocked for suing, and it's in quotes, I'm not calling him that. Donald Trump mocked for suing Nice over insidious plot to release his tax returns. France wants concrete measures from Biden after sub-deal upset, says U.S. must respect European sovereignty. Attempt to kill Ukrainian advisor was meant to intimidate, government aid alleges, as Kremlin rejects claim of Russian involvement. It's France's, and it will remain so. Paris denies UK media report claiming it could give up its UN Security Council seat. I'm telling you, there's some pissed off people. UK energy regulator's boss left in darkness as he tells parliamentary lights will stay on in the winter amid surging gas prices. UK PM Johnson tells France to get over their AUKUS deal grievances. New American-led Cold War conflict with Russia and China has already begun, majority of EU citizens believe, says a bombshell new poll. Half of children have already had COVID, England's chief medical officer says, with highest transmission rate among school pupils. Let's see, it's about fairness. Germany scraps COVID quarantine compensation for unvaccinated workers. Leaked documents show DARPA considered funding $14 million project to infect Chinese bats with altered coronaviruses in 2018, says reports. France to return ambassador to Washington after Biden's call to Macron in wake of major military contract snub. Late night comedians slated for teaming up to lecture the masses on saving the planet. Aren't you so excited? Insulate Britain activist storms off Good Morning Britain after revelation that he hasn't insulated his own home. Oh, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. Political dialogue is non-existent within NATO, France's defense minister says amid AUKUS steel snub. Hang on, let me back up. So here's the thing. This whole push is, well, from what I understand from reading, this whole push is so that they insulate the homes in Britain. That's the whole point. Because I guess a lot of the homes are not insulated and they leak a lot of the heat out. And so that is how they want to help tackle, energy consumption, is by insulating the homes. It's not really a bad idea, but I just think it's, a lot of irony here. Well, they want the government to pay for these homes to be insulated, essentially, and they want to start with the low income and work out from there. I'm not in disagreement with anything that I've heard that they stand for, to be real honest with you. Because I'm for that. Why not? Why would we not want to help people get better energy costs and conserve energy and all? To me, that would be foolishness to not want that. Some people can't afford it, and that's kind of my whole point, because this guy is a senior figure with these folks. You would think he could afford to do it with his own home. I just really gets me. Really gets me. Let's see. Bill Gates squirms as PBS interview turns his meetings with convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. Or turns to his meetings. Yeah. He made the comment that he's dead. It was, yeah. So I don't know if it was Luke, if there was We Are Changed that I saw that played a clip of that, or I saw the clip though. Very eerie. Australian police attempt to keep reporters from covering COVID-19 protests back off after news outlet threatens legal challenge. 2 more UK energy suppliers collapse as gas crisis deepens. Over 1.5 million customers reportedly affected. I mean, they're having a hell of an energy crisis, it seems, over there. I don't know that the U.S. is going to be any different this year. We'll see. COVID-19 appeared in the U.S. before Wuhan, Chinese scientists claim in new research paper. MOD suspends official over leak that exposed data of 250 Afghans who worked for British forces, as second email breach reported. Apple memo from Tim Cook denouncing leakers gets leaked. Think that's classic. Washington Elementary School walks back insane rule asking students to wear masks while eating. I don't know how exactly you do that. Candace Owens skewers MSNBC's read over missing white woman syndrome and points to disparities in reporting of police violence. Democrats demand sanctions against 35 Russians, including Prime Minister, alleging human rights abuses. U.S. House Democrats curtail GOP minorities' ability to seek investigations of Biden administration, says the media. How nice is that? Worse than slavery, Democrat Maxine Waters slams Border Patrol whipping Haitian migrants. Send Haitian migrants to Gitmo, ? Report that small detention facility in Guantanamo Bay will house migrants sparks outrage. We do have another headline popped up there. FDA greenlights Pfizer booster shots for elderly and those aged 18 plus at high risk from COVID-19, leaving room for interpretation. Interesting. And I know that broke earlier, but RT will withhold from putting stuff out sometimes until they get a little bit more info. That happens a lot, and I've noticed ever since that they were listed as a foreign agent. Oh wow, I did not have that over. I'm sorry, that whole time. I'm sorry. Oh well, forgive me. Anyway, ever since RT has been listed as a foreign agent, they really they watch the information they put out. It's like they double check everything to make sure that it's factual, and that it's not, well, essentially a trap in some cases. So, anyway, though, I am gonna get out of here. I am tired and just want to relax. So, got one more night. Last night, I know I said that tonight. I was thinking tonight was Thursday night for some reason. Anyway, we got one more night now, and I'll be glad to put this week to bed. I will, because it's really, as far as news is concerned, it's really been a crazy, crazy week. And I've been doing my best to keep an eye on as much of it as possible, and plus get other stuff done. And I'll tell you what, there is a lot going on. A lot. Anyway, I am out of here. I hope you all have a good night. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. I hope to see you then. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.